Calculating standard deviation by hand is easy if we break it down. To begin, we need to find a couple things, so we'll start by listing. This will become a very important first step later on. Our first step will involve listing x bar. This is, of course, our average, as well as n, and this is how many things are in our sample. After we've done this, the next thing we need to do is go ahead and focus on what standard deviation measures, and that is, it measures deviation. So we'll begin by listing out all of our x values. This is just all of our observations, and we'll find the deviations of each one. We find that by taking x minus x bar. This measures how far off our observation is from the average, that is, how much it deviates. After we found this, the next thing we'll do is we'll go ahead and we'll square them. We square the deviations because sometimes our observation is below average, which means we'll have a negative deviation, and sometimes our observation is above average, meaning we'll have a positive deviation. Our concern is, with negative and positive values, they're going to add to 0. And so to avoid adding them to 0, we square them so they're all positive. After I go ahead and square them, I go on to the third step of calculating standard deviation. And this is where I add them all together. So I'll add that last one. After I've added them all together, the next step I need to do is go ahead and divide. This is where I average those deviations. When I divide them by n minus 1. After I've divided, the final step is to go ahead and square root. I square root them because at this point I've already squared them. So if my units were, let's say, feet or years, after I square it, my units are feet squared or years squared, which means at the end I square root it to get back to my original units.